Usually.
Hey, White Sox fans! My name is Brett Ballantini. Lucky enough to host another year. This is the 5th year we've been doing pregame podcasts. Funny though, this is just the 10th one. As I was just explaining to my wonderful guests here, this podcast series was originally envisioned at a time when the White Sox would be playing like great, exciting series like every other week. And we've been doing a ton of these. I'd buttonhole someone to say, hey, get on before a series with me. We won't trample visiting dugout by Chrystal O'Keefe, but we'll do something a little bit different, or I don't know, we'll just do more yakking on podcasts. But guess what? There's only been 10 these last couple of years. We've just done an opening day one. We haven't even done 2 opening day ones because they've had home openers. Again, a little odd. We'll get to that very soon in this podcast, talking about March weather in Chicago. It's going to be a good one here today, just in mere minutes and hours. This is the White Sox opening day pregame podcast with Sox Populi. I am here with our Southside Sox writers and Sox Populi podcasters, Chrystal O'Keefe, Super Joseph Resis, and new addition, setting a record for most consecutive podcast upon joining the crew. It's Hannah Filippo. Thanks to all 3 of you for joining me and talking for a while about the White Sox, because we have no choice but to talk about the White Sox. We're going to talk about the White Sox. Thank you, Chrystal. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Hannah. Let's talk about the White Sox. First thing we'll talk about again, we are just depending on when you're listening. I mean, if you're really into it, it's like 6 a.m. and you're listening because you're so hyped. What's wrong with you? But you're so hyped. It could be mere minutes before first pitch. You're just trying to squeeze this in. Sorry, this turned out to be like a 3-hour podcast and you're not going to be able to squeeze it in. But you're listening to the important part right up top before we all get tired and grizzled and very negative about the team. But let's be a little negative about the team, or at least I'm going to be, because guess what? The final roster sort of trickled out. I'm not even certain if the White Sox have officially released the final 6 cuts of the spring. But it does appear that, at least among position players, I don't think there's a rookie. I know we have 2 Rule 5 starters, so they're sort of obligated to be on the roster. So, okay, Shane Smith definitely earned it. This new guy from the Rays via the Mets, so who knows? But, yeah, you got to carry him. And Fraser Ellard in the bullpen, sort of a rookie, pitched last year. It still qualifies as a rookie. Brooks Baldwin did not make the cut. He's on the team, but he is not a rookie. What in the world, panel, is going on with a team that lost 121 games, has nothing to play for in 2025. Sorry for the spoiler alert on the pregame podcast for opening day, but has nothing to play for this year yet. Breaks camp with 0, has a great farm system, we're told, but no rookie is breaking camp. Please explain this to me. Apparently no explanation. Yes, please explain it to me.
I think Venable and Getz are taking the safe approach. They want to see people who've already had some big league innings under the belt, which is understandable, but I mean, I don't think there's not a team on paper that really is extremely exciting for opening day, or as exciting as it could be, I should say. But
we could go there like, yes, we got Travis Jankowski, yes. This team, Chrystal, Joe, can you explain a perfectly plausible explanation, Hannah? I buy it, but I reject it. Chrystal, Joe, help out. Any other theories?
Let's see, Jankowski. Yeah. Speaking of him, I just want to say he robbed Andrew Vaughn of a home run last year.
Now we got him on our side.
Yes, that was a great play. It was also a few years ago. Like there was the 500-foot home run that Nomar Mazara hit for the Rangers against the White Sox, and they went and picked him up like very soon after that. Like, maybe this is their way of scouting?
This is like a Cracker Jack prize roster. Oh, I hate this team. Happy opening day. Chrystal O'Keefe, can you offer anything to me?
I don't have anything of value to add to that. I mean, I do agree with what Hannah said, that they're just kind of trying to play it smart, but you can't really play it smart when you don't have any good players on your team to begin with, rookie or not. So, like, wow, again, go Travis Jankowski, who was halfway decent 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So pumped.
I mean, I get it. As much as I'm giggling and tearing up in the first 5 minutes of this idiotic podcast, I mean, I'm not so dumb that I don't get. I know what's going on here. Yes, you're not going to just throw all your rookies to the wolves. Yes, who knows? Even in this world, particularly position players. Okay, I don't know. You're not going to burn service time or something. Oh, okay. I mean, I understand some of the spreadsheet stuff going on here. It's a weird look that there's not one guy from this vaunted farm system. And I know the upper minors might not be the strongest, but then I don't know if the mid minors or lower minors is the strongest. So where's the strength? You'd think you just trot a guy out there just like token. But instead, like Chase has got to, he's got to like work on being more aggressive at the plate instead of just being able to coast on the fact that he's like a 400 OBP. Well, listen, if I understood Chris Getz, this whole podcast would take a different tone, wouldn't it? All right, well, that's the roster. Maybe they're going to change things here in the next couple minutes before first pitch, before the Derek Rose first pitch. Weather. Hey, is it chilly? What? Stick your head out the window. 47 degrees, something like that. Rain's already like happened. Maybe the grass is wet, and then maybe it's going to happen post game, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen in game. Any of you locals can give me a little vibe on the weather we're about to experience here in opening day, just minutes away.
It's pretty cold.
Yeah,
it's a little chilly out.
Chicago in March.
I was just outside not too long ago.
Yeah.
I don't care, though. I'm going to be sitting inside of a bar watching the game, not inside of a stadium.
Yeah.
Because who does that?
Wise. The snowmen have melted. Play ball. Yeah. And again, we can do a weather thing like, why is a team from California playing in Chicago? And I'm not going to pick on that because I understand you can't just like front load your schedule one way and then back and have a California team play a month at home and then go on the road for a month. But this year's schedule was odd, if I can recall well enough from when I first did the post about the schedule like months ago. It does seem like a big chunk of the start of the season, like 6 weeks or something, is all like pretty cold. It seems odd that they're not mixing anything in. Hey, let's just go to Texas for 3 games. It seems like pretty hard block of like maybe the further south, like KC or St. Louis or something. So, the complaint is tired and silly, but the fact that it's like a chunk of 6 weeks, there are going to be some makeup games, I think, to be made. I don't know.
But hey, we don't have Jose Abreu to freeze on first base anymore on your team.
Yeah, and his cute little like mask up to his nose and
poor Jose.
One of my favorite memories of Jose Abreu, other than hitting like 8 home runs in a row against the Cubs, which, forever in my heart for that one, but was the time that he was so excited that he ran down the dugout and just slid on the concrete. He just slid because he was like so fired up, like something you might do like in Little League. I probably did in Little League, but I remember seeing that and thinking, oh man, I bet you I'm going to side with Sox brass on this one. They say, oh God, Jose, please don't do that. That's a strawberry from hell if you slide wrong on concrete in a dugout over tobacco spit. And all the seed shells, that'll rip you up real good. Okay, let's go around and chat about this series. It's the Angels, which means it's winnable. It's gettable. It's the Angels. I think some people even might be, even one of our prognosticators, again, shoot on over. I know you're juggling out right now because it's like first pitch is like 10 seconds away, but shoot on over to Southside Sox. Look at our staff's pregame predictions. There's like some sort of informal relationship between Southside Sox and Sox Populi. Don't ask me to explain. It's very complicated. I don't have the flow chart with me, but at any rate, I think some of the same names you might be seeing here are over there too. I think someone picked maybe the Angels as the worst team in the American League. I think that's going a little too crazy, but the Angels are gettable. Presumably, maybe in Chicago. I don't know if there's ever like a home field advantage anymore because all these guys, grew up in Florida and California and Latin America. So I'm not sure there's a real advantage to having a California team come to Chicago. But is this opening series, 3 games, in theory, 3 games if none are canceled, winnable? Can the White Sox win 2 of 3 or even sweep the Angels? Please speak up with confidence.
The most recent sample that we have against the Angels was that sweep of back in September. That was a pretty impressive little salvage there to that helped them get over the 40 win mark. But I'm not really feeling it. Generally, when you expect the White Sox to deliver good things, that's when they tend to disappoint you, more than usual. I feel like the Angels are bad enough to where I still think the White Sox will get one. I'm not sure which game of the series I'll predict them to win. I have a feeling the Sox will salvage one game out of this, though.
Sonny Joseph Resis only barely predicts 1 of 3. Wow, I'm shaking my magic 8-ball, and that is not a good sign for the season, White Sox. I didn't say it. It's Joe. Send your mail to Joe. I've got a little bird whispering in my ear that Hannah Filippo felt the White Sox might go 500 in March, which is the first 4 games, not this first series. Does that mean, Hannah, that they can take the series against the Angels?
I'll cautiously say yes. I'm looking at their lineup right now. They get to see TA again, Moncada, Nicky Lopez, and at the end of the lineup, it's Jorge Soler and Mike Trout. So looking at that lineup, it's not like the Sox have an incredibly impressive lineup, but I like them trying to ride their wave of motivation. So I do like the Sox lineup slightly more than the Angels, just slightly.
That is a blatant diss, Anaheim. Rise up. You just heard it. Your batting order is weaker. Listen, if this was 2021, yeah, I'd be a little more scared. It is 2025, and I can see what you're saying, Hannah. I do like that when I identified and questioned you about whether the White Sox could win the series, there was just a millisecond flash of panic in your eyes, and that pretty much sums it up for this White Sox season as well, because anything good we say, we're immediately going to have to look over our shoulder because we might be about to, get murdered or mocked. Chrystal, this might be a tiebreaker. I think I know where this is going, but White Sox have a chance at winning an opening series?
Sorry if you just heard Willow. She had opinions. I actually am going to be very cautiously optimistic and say that they can win 2. They're going to be very close, and they are going to be very stressful, and they are going to nearly blow it in the last 2 to 3 innings. It's going to get ugly. The bullpen's going to do every single thing possible to lose these games, but I think that they could win 2 because they do occasionally luck out with scrappy offense. And the Angels' offense is not always ideal. We don't know what Mike Trout's even going to look like. And, I somehow watched 2 Angels spring training games with them. So I think they can pull 2 out. It's just you're going to probably cuss during the games because they're frustrating.
Actually, we always say these are free pocket schedule titles, but you're probably going to cuss during the game. That's actually legitimately already printed up. I've seen those pocket schedules out. You're probably going to cuss during the game. White Sox baseball 2025.
I feel like I just need to come up with all of their pocket schedules because I seem to always be on a roll.
Yes, you do. Yeah, and let's face it, to harken back to what you said at the top there, Chrystal, they're not going to be any easy wins this year. However many wins the White Sox get, let's just say roughly 40. Oh, no, okay, let's feel where the wind's blowing. Let's say 50. That seems to be maybe roughly average of what people are thinking. I'm going to guess 0 out of 50 are going to be easy. Maybe one crazy fluke one where the other team forgets to show up. Okay, well, I will tilt the balance because I've already committed on an earlier podcast that is still extant. It has not been deleted off of the interwebs yet. in saying that I was cautiously. Now, I don't think they're going to maybe even play all 3 games. I mean, it's Chicago in March. But if they do, I'm cautiously optimistic in saying that they actually could win 2 games against the Angels, which is going to just set everything off weird. First of all, they're going to have like a winning March, and that like a winning month, that's going to be a cheat. I guess you do sort of combine March with April, so it doesn't really count. But technically, all the Gets apologists are going to say, yeah, they had a winning month. Their streak of 58 losing months in a row is broken by this March when they went 3-1. But yeah, God, it's the Angels. They're lousy, and as you know, Hannah acknowledged. I mean, you know, this is a ghost of better seasons past, and there's no Shohei Ohtani coming up in the hole on deck. He's far, far, far away from Chicago. So Joe, you stand alone. And I love that you, of the 4 of us, are the most cynical at just this moment. I think it's a good time to take a break. We can all cool down. Frankly, I want, when we come back, everybody just to pan down, because we need to see the alcohol being drunk, because 3 of 4 of us say the White Sox are going to win the opening series of the season, and something clearly is wrong. I'll own up to whatever intoxicant I must have taken to commit to that at the start of a podcast, at the start of a season that we're coming off of 121 wins. It's a number I still can't even remember because it seems too fantastical. Let's take a quick break. We're going to talk a little more broadly about the White Sox season, predictions for the season. I don't know, maybe get into some sentimental opening day memories. The time we built a snowman out in the front yard and then went in and watched the game later on, because I'm sure that happened 2 or 3 times with all of us. We're Chicago White Sox fans. Of course it did. We'll take a break, minute or 2. Please come back. We'll be back. Probably a couple more drinks down based on the way this first half went. And, who knows what'll come then in the second half. Hang with us. White Sox fans, my name is Brett Ballantini. I often forget to introduce myself, even though if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my name. I have a name tag. I don't do anything clever with it. It's just my name. So that's me. And I'm trying to be better about that. I'm trying to be a good host. I'm trying to be disciplined. No cussing, minimal yelling, a lot of hand gestures, often flushed in the face, but that's mostly because the White Sox do that to me. Thank you, White Sox. You get me riled up. You get me sad, sometimes even despondent. But yes, we carry on with these podcasts. We've had a whole 10 pregame podcasts, and the one you're listening to right now is the 10th. It is opening day 2025, mere seconds from, you can hear in the background, I believe, you can hear strains of America the Beautiful or the national anthem or whatever inappropriate song to be played at the start of any sporting event here in the year 2025. Yeah, you can hear it. It's that. Yeah, I can hear it. Okay, well, I'll turn that down so you can listen to all the important stuff we have to tell you. And I think that stuff is going to be, and we are going to first swing the camera to Joe Resis and Chrystal O'Keefe, who have not been able to commit to anything yet in terms of any sort of preseason predictions podcast. Hannah and I are, it's old hat for us because we've already committed to our wins totals and whatnot. Joe, we'll start with you because you have actually so far, at least to date, committed a prediction for the White Sox season, wins, losses, and so forth. What's it going to be this year?
I'm going to go with 51.
51. That's a sweet 10-game improvement? Again,
Yes.
My math is really off. You're the math guy. Yeah, okay. 10-game improvement, which seems like you could just fall down. You just sneeze and get a 10-game improvement. But it's going to be harder than that, you think?
Yes. I am. It feels almost like deja vu from last year when I was kind of thinking, well, it could hardly get worse than it was last year. And then they literally got 20 games worse. That I am reluctantly having the same attitude as I had last year, because this time I think it actually can't get worse. I think having Grifol out of there, it will go a long way. That is, on paper, there really isn't much talent on this roster, especially if they trade Luis Robert Jr., which I assume that they will at some point during the season. But there will be a couple of minor pleasant surprises that will kind of get them at least a few more wins than they had last year.
Mm-hmm. This is why he's the Sox math champ. He's the math guy. He digs into the numbers. And when he says it really can't get much worse, he's literally right. It can technically only get 41 games worse. So, I mean, there is a limit there. There, we do actually have a legitimate ceiling. We can see the basement from where we're sitting. Usually you can't. It's like, oh, it's somewhere out there, but no, now it's actually legit. Chrystal, I'd like to know your feelings. Again, don't have to commit to an exact number, just a general vibe. Clearly, it's got to be better, right? We've only had one person predict the team to actually be worse than last year. I came close, but I'm sticking with my prediction of just one game better because I've seen nothing to convince me otherwise. Have you seen more to convince you otherwise, Chrystal? This can be a significantly better than 41 win team.
So I actually made a sort of joke, but at the same time, I think it would just honestly be hilarious because this team is kind of a joke. Since they are turning 125 this year, I think it would be really funny if they lose 125 games. My dearest husband, who was watching that live podcast, pointed out in the comments that I cover most of those, but I still think it would be kind of funny. I don't think they'll lose that many games. I still think it's going to be well over 100, though, that they do lose.
Yeah, how sad is it a season? We're on the brink of the season again. We're just mere seconds. You could again, I think finally all those anthems and patriotic songs have stopped. But we're still 5 commercials before first pitch. It's a foregone conclusion they're going to lose 100 games. I mean, I've seen a few predictions that have them shy of 100, and those people absolutely need to be checked in somewhere because something is quite wrong. But yeah, so I mean, you say better. So again, you're maybe in the Joe camp of maybe like a 10 game kind of thing. Man, all right. Yeah, see, Indianapolis field office, they stick together even when Joe's cubicle has been vacant for far too long. Now, contrary to that, again, I've already admitted that I am predicting 42 wins, 1 game better than last year. I'd say, even though this roster is not 1 game better, I'll go in with the weird thing where it's like, I don't know, the astrological signs point to the fact that somehow they're going to just accidentally stumble into a few more games they shouldn't have won. A lot of people seem to be like relying on that, like, what? Yes.
I think Mercury is going into retrograde soon, if that makes a difference.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I knew anything about it, I would say absolutely yes. That pinpoints it exactly. So yeah, they're going to like trip over that. Like the other team's going to trip on the dugout stairs, or just weird stuff is going to happen. That they win games by, like default, win games by remote control, just something funny going on. Contrary to that, high prognosticator among this group is Hannah Filippo, who I believe, 57? What's the number again? It is Sunny, right?
I think I'm at
55.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that's part, you don't want to see such pain and you want to go through such pain again, but there's some legitimate thinking behind the fact this team can be significantly better, right?
I'd like to think. I'll believe it when I see it fully, but I did hear the other day when I was listening to Chuck Garfine's podcast that like him and Brooke Fletcher think in the 60s, which I think is, I mean, I hope it comes true, but I think it's a little too optimistic for my
Tell me your paycheck comes from the White Sox without telling me your paycheck comes from the White Sox. 60-something wins. Whew. All right. Well,
softly bold.
I guess if you're going to drink the Kool-Aid, take about 3 cups right in March. There's plenty of time for Chuck and Brooke and whoever else to like get on the weird grizzled hangover bandwagon by July. I mean, I guess this would be the time to be like a little kooky about it. But oh wow, 60 plus. That was committed to an actual podcast. All right, well, you'll see. There'll be no such madness on this podcast. So out there, dear listeners and viewers and even readers, where you should go for more legitimate, clear-headed White Sox analysis. Because we're not getting that crazy. Even Hannah, as I pressed her for what's going on with 55 wins, said, "Well, yeah, my fingers are crossed, and that's all we can do." Again, I want to swing the camera back to Joe and Chrystal, and I'd just like to know whether Joe, you want to just tell us who you think your best player and pitcher and worst player and pitcher are going to be, or you just want to talk about somebody that you're particularly looking forward to or averting your eyes from this coming season, who you got on your list in terms of hopes and hates?
Even if Luis Robert Jr. gets traded at the deadline, I think he'll have the most WAR on anyone on this team.
Yeah.
I think he just has by far the most talent, and I think he'll have a pretty good season. And he'll be a rare, breath of fresh air in the lineup.
Mm-hmm. Full disclosure, Joe, you've been like a Luis Robert Jr. guy for like 10 years. So
yes,
this is a consistent position. Okay.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So no huge surprise there probably. For pitcher I'm hopeful for, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about Jonathan Cannon. I know he's had a rough spring training, but he was quietly pretty decent down the stretch in 2024. He's very young still, and despite being so young, he's done something that very few pitchers have, which is help break a team's 21-game losing streak.
That's something you see on many resumes.
Yes, indeed. I think he'll be able to be at least a little bit better than league average this year. I think he is, and I think that'll be enough to be the best pitcher in the organization.
Okay.
For 2020.
And Joe, I'm going to interrupt your mild-mannered reporting here because I got to challenge you. I just looked at your picks and now I'm angry. And because I don't want to yell at you, because I love you, I'm going to make Hannah do it because both of us picked. I changed my pick. Hannah might not know this. I changed my pick. We both picked Davis Martin as the best pitcher. You for this season, you picked Davis Martin as the worst. And again, Hannah, jump in and yell at Joe if you want. But Joe, please explain yourself because he's the one guy, both maybe slightly with track record and with spring and with maybe projection, seems to be a guy who would not necessarily be your worst. So what do you know, or have you been looking at the stars and this whole Mercury retrograde thing? Is that giving you a vibe that says no dice on Davis Martin?
It's a good question. My main rationale is because I think people are too excited about him. And
now that is a White Sox fan answer, man.
Yes, I like Davis Martin, and I hope he proves me wrong on this one. I do not. Yeah, on this team, whenever someone is like, this, he's kind of trending in the right direction. He's one of the few decent players on the team. It's gives me some with his
major league
track record only a little over 100 innings all time. I think I kind of need to see more before I trust the perception of him.
The don't want to touch the hot stove defense is absolutely legit here, Joe. Okay, now Hannah, you're not allowed to yell at him, but let's swing it to you, and please stand up for my guy Davis Martin. And what about him is making him an easy pick or just your pick as a guy going in the season who you really think is going to be best on the staff?
I'll basically turn all of Joe's arguments around on him. I understand. I completely understand trying to cover the bases, and they're always guys who look great in spring and then have a flop of a season. But for every reason that he's looked great, and even though he had limited outings in 2024, he looked okay. He looked better than established veterans. Mm-hmm. He changed his pitch arch. He adjusted his pitch arsenal slightly, and there's a lot of high hopes from coaches who have seen him as well. So I'll read their testimonials for that.
Okay, next time you get to yell at him, Hannah, because that was far too kind. Okay, Chrystal, to you now. It's somebody you're particularly looking forward to, someone you really want to damn your arse from. Joe, I want to get back to you on a player as well, but let's give Chrystal a chance to talk about maybe there's somebody that we should actually be excited about, that she's excited about, because I really could use some. Again, we're like 10 seconds from first pitch, but because I need enthusiasm about this team. So do you have anyone?
Well, I mean, so I have to pivot because if you had asked before Tommy John took every single pitch down, I was going to say Drew Thorpe because I'm very high on the
me
Drew
too.
Thorpe is the second coming of Dylan Cease bandwagon.
Mhm.
Like, I think I might have started it. Like, I'm driving that wagon.
Mhm.
I've notably said it on multiple podcasts. He's the second coming. So originally it was going to be him, but I'm high on the Davis Martin train.
Uh-oh, Joe. Uh-oh.
I'm also
the schism in the Indianapolis field office is unprecedented.
He moved away from me, and now whatever.
All bets are off, buddy.
No, I'm high on Davis Martin. I think he's looked pretty great, and spring training is kind of a farce, but like he's looked really good. I'm also kind of weirdly high on Korey Lee right now.
Oh, we got another fight coming. Okay, yes, Korey Lee. Talk to me about Korey Lee because Joe's got something to say.
Out of anyone that's going to hold a bat, I think he's been proving himself a little bit more than last season at least, and I think he's grown a little bit. So I think he might actually be able to do something this season. Like, I didn't hate him last season. I thought he was fine. He's just immature, but I think he's grown a little. I think he's going to do better.
Okay. I love Chrystal O'Keefe, but Joe, this is your turn now to tell her why she is so wrong. And the additional thing I want to know, Joe, is because you think he sucks so bad that he's going to be, well, that's cruel. You would never say that. I'll say it though. He's going to like flush out of the team. I want to know also then how what domino effect you see him being the worst player on the team. Okay. Spoiler alert. Sorry. I stole your thunder, Joe. Will have in terms of the vacuum up of Kyle Teel and or Edgar Quero from Charlotte, because that's something I think we all can get excited about if those guys get up quicker, even if it means sacrificing Chrystal's beloved Korey Lee. Okay, tell me why he's no good, or that you think he's going to be the worst player, and what effect it might have in terms of getting these guys up that we want to see sooner.
I must say, I really want him to be good. I would want him to get a nice full-time or a nice long-term contract. I'd much rather, that money be in his pocket than Reinsdorf's.
Okay.
So as far as why I don't think it'll happen, I just am not very convinced that he can swing a bat well enough to, consistently, warrant a spot in the lineup. His ability to get on base, so far every step along the way in the major leagues, has been an issue. And regardless of how well he, is able to field, I think if his bat remains as poor as it has been, like there just aren't many opportunities for him. And, I hope he can put it together. But it is difficult for me to see it at this current moment in time.
Let me translate for Joe. You want to see Korey Lee get a nice long-term contract. You just rather have him get it for one of the other 29 teams.
Well, I mean, if he plays well this year, like for the White Sox,
yeah, of course.
Maybe he'll get it for the White Sox. And
Joe, you don't think I'm going to go back and edit this pregame podcast and have us all on the Korey Lee bandwagon if he plays that well to get a multi-year contract from Jerry Reinsdorf this year? Yes, absolutely I will. I promise all of you, Hannah, who hasn't even weighed in on this, Chrystal, who already clearly has professed love, and me and Joe, who are, well, I'm making fun and Joe's being very polite. Joe, but what I want to know is, okay, now then given that you are sort of seeing him as not having a good year, what do you think the domino effect is going to be, or when do you think we might see one or both of the gilded catchers, clearly at this point, two best prospects in the system, certainly on the hitting side and arguably, most ready in the majors? Because that's the type of thing we might have wanted to see break in camp to bring some enthusiasm in the cold March. How soon is that going to happen?
I'll say June. I could see them reading it out with, Lee and Theis for a little while. But yeah, I'll predict June. That seems like a good amount of time for this isn't working out, or maybe, an injury could very well force that deal by then.
Okay, let's swing it to Hannah, who has professed a real interest in Kyle Teel and what he is going to bring to the White Sox. Does that sound about right for you? Best case scenario for him getting up? Or are you hoping he might even trickle up to the south side, maybe even sooner because he just hits the hell of the ball, say for April? It's like we can't keep him down.
I want to say May, early May, because between the prospects, Teel and Quero probably hit the best out of all. They hit better than my draft. They hit better than Colson, which wasn't hard to do. He only played like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
They hit amongst the best of the prospects. So it's hard to see them not be able to swing their way to the majors later than May.
Yeah. And this isn't certainly a pile-on of Korey Lee or Theis or whatever catcher they're going to like dig up and bring to the south side because they can't bring their service time, whatever. Listen, I'm going to ride this. We had June and May. I'm going to say April because like injury or something. I'm going to say April. Let's have like an awesome 3 weeks Teel or Quero if Teel's off. Again, not interchangeable, but I know Teal's sort of got all the hype, and I actually sort of feel bad for Edgar Quero because he's pretty kick-ass, and he's like the number 2 catcher on the team. He's never going to catch for the White Sox or something, but I'm going to say April because this guy is going to hit the ground running. He's nothing told us he wasn't already sort of ready. So yeah, let's get him in April. This is opening day. Because again, we're like I can hear I don't know. D Rose channel, I don't know, something going on, something misguided at the ballpark right now. And so, come on, we got to get excited. It's March, it's cold. The White Sox are going to lose, I don't know, up to 125 games. So can we at least see Kyle Teel hit this year, for crying out loud? All right, not to extend too long, but I would also like to hear, and maybe these are reruns, and if they are, that's fine, because I've forgotten. It's been a year, I'm getting older. I forget a lot of stuff. I would like to know a favorite. It could be favorite or it could just be memorable, like you didn't make the game or something. Opening day memory. It could be in person. It could be watching on TV. It could be the first one you ever remember. I'm not even sure what my answer is, so I'm going to just punt until the rest of you talk, and maybe we'll run out of time and I won't have to commit. But does somebody want to offer up a favorite opening day memory first?
I will go because this was fun. So, it's been a million years, but there was a day at work. It was opening day. We asked our boss, this is when I was still in an office, wild. We were like, hey, can we all wear jerseys for opening day and put the games on? Because we had TVs in the office. And so a bunch of my coworkers, we sat there with our and we were all wearing different jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't eat hot dogs, but everybody went and got hot dogs, and we were just chilling, and it was so much fun. I just remember that. But otherwise, I try not to be caught dead at opening day.
Yeah. Not unwise. I mean, you know what you're getting into, but the problem is you're getting into football weather. Unless you're a big football fan where you've already got the gear, you might still be wearing it because you're such a football fan.
I went last year and I had to go and buy a new winter hat.
Yeah. You're lucky it wasn't more than that. That tells you that actually says you dressed pretty well because clearly you need more than a hat at a typical White Sox opening day. Okay, Joe, Hannah, what do you got? Again, home, in person, whatever.
There's one that is kind of jumping out at me, which is something I'm very grateful for. The 2019 home opener. This was an incident that led me to being able to write for this blog.
A very special day.
Yes. Back when there was a game called Sox Math and there was an in-person championship in person at Sox Fest. Due to that, I was able to go to that 2019 home opener. And it was a very good time, and it was a great game. And I got to hang with Jason Benetti and Steve Stone for an inning during the game. It was a very cool time there. It's a unique experience, and it's kind of stuff like that kind of makes me feel like no matter no matter how bad things can get, I'll probably always be loyal to this team no matter what.
Did they win that game, Joe?
They did. Yeah, it was a good game.
Oh my God, that
Yeah.
was a perfect day.
It's a miracle. Yeah, that was 10-8. It was a back and forth game, and even though Eloy Jimenez he went 0 for 4. So, but I did get to see him play in Chicago for the first time, and I was really excited about that.
It dates you as a Sox fan to say that you could be a part of the Eloy Jimenez excitement, Joe.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it really does. Yes, putting that sadness aside, it was still a great time, though.
Thank you for that very polite explanation of there used to be a long time ago. Again, like that's not on your business card. Come on, Joe. And if it's not, put it on your business card. What the heck? Why not?
Maybe,
I'm not saying there's
not.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's not a lot of accomplishments already in your life and still to come, but come on. So at least the currency in this group here, come on, you got the golden ticket. All right, okay, I'll take the banner down. I'll stop embarrassing you. Okay, Hannah, what do you got for an opening day? In person, watching, in jerseys, whatever.
It's a lot less anticlimactic than everyone else's. I've never been in person, but every year I put on my Jose Abreu jersey and I sit and I watch with all the games on every screen, and I hope for a win and I cheer when the Cubs lose. But last couple of years they've won opening day, so.
Yeah. I've been to a few in addition to the ones I had to cover. Got paid to cover. Get paid to cover a game. Whoa. And I'd say my favorite in person was 2006, even though it was a very, very long day. And I went with my sister, who spent more time smoking with newfound friends where do they still let you smoke? Like off on the ramps or whatever. I'm like, where'd Beth go? Like most of the game. And I think I even switched seats because, everybody left. There was a huge rain delay. It was the ESPN game. It was an afternoon game. It turned into a night game because there was like a 3-hour delay. And there was some kind of like a tornado or something crazy, like maybe coming. So sort of exciting. And Tomei hit a big homer and we ended up sitting almost behind the dugout. When I guess she remembered that she had a brother at the game, I think we sat maybe for like a half inning. Me and my sister, we got a close relationship. Anyhow, we had a great time at the 2006 opener, and Lord knows we all thought, oh my God, it's just going to be so easy to repeat. And it's pretty much been downhill since then. But I will say, my bonus to just extend this podcast, because I'm sure you all would just want to sit quietly and listen to me, for covering at Southside Sox, I would say, would it be the first? Was 2018 the football game with Kansas City? I think it was 2019, 2018. Matt Davidson had 3 homers, 8,000 exit velocity.
2018.
2018. So the very first one I got to write and sort of cover with Southside Sox. That was, lousy team, terrible year, etc. But that was sort of a fun. If you're gonna play a game that's where it's snowing, you might as well have this weird like softball game. And I don't think anyone thought Matt Davidson was going to be the second coming, but 3 homers in a game, some of the highest measured exit velocities like ever, even though of course that stat may have just started in 2018, but still he did it. That was sort of cool. So that's sort of a nice memory. And again, need I repeat, it's been downhill from there. So, hey, White Sox fans, aren't you feeling good about yourselves? Well, anyhow, just like all of you out there, probably some of you listening on the Transistor Radio podcast machine, listening as you're seeing the very first pitches of the game, to those of you sitting at home, maybe even listening to this somehow for whatever reason after the game to see how wrong we were about stuff, how wrong I was about stuff, and how right my other 3 wonderful guests were about stuff. At any rate, we're all here right with you. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're writing for you. That's why we're doing these podcasts. That's why these 3 politely sit and listen to me drone on about stuff. Gosh, they're wonderful people. Sometimes they're even smiling when I do it. Hannah, Chrystal, and Joe, thank you. Do we have parting thoughts from any of you? Predictions that you need to make that we didn't get to, or just about maybe what we're going to see just here mere minutes from now?
I will be at a aptly named bar in Bridgeport watching the game. It is called the Electric Funeral Bar, because that's how I feel about this season already.
Yeah, that seems like if I had to be a place, if I was within the vicinity, I would be trying to, I'd be like sort of sitting like a little bit like behind, like far enough away not to bug you, Chrystal, but then maybe be like, oh, hey, Brett. And then like we could have a drink or something, but yeah, I won't be. Oh, well, see you later. Chrystal, I'll see you in probably about half hour. Okay.
Yeah.
See you then.
Funeral bar. I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. For sure. For sure. All right. Well, thanks to three of you for doing this. Hey, stay tuned. In just mere 9 innings from now, in just mere hours, you can tune in to the Sox Populi post-game podcast. And we know that's going to be a happy one. We're all going to be wearing jerseys, probably have our eye black. We're going to be a little bit messed up, probably dirt all over us, because we are going to be so fired up about the stirring victory over the Angels, maybe in snow, sleet, whatever it turned out to be, but we're going to be talking there. So really hang with us. Again, you got your podcaster machine close by. Just, keep it paused right here on Sox Populi, because we'll be with you in just a few hours to talk post-game and celebrate a victory. But until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for being with us, as always. And see you in 2026, apparently, when we'll do the next pregame podcast.
Brett, I thought that you meant we would have our eye black and dirt because we had to start playing in the game.
Well, it sort of covers both bases there. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I was just like, sign me up to play left field. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Pay me millions of dollars to hit below the Mendoza line. I can do that.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, Ken, yes. I think we'll all take the major league minimum, even if it's just for the 3 days. I think that pretty much beats what we're getting paid for this podcast. Okay, yeah, anyhow, good call. Thank you for the clarification. That's exactly right. So we'll be talking post-game to you on the podcast, and we'll talk about our experiences in the game, in the victory. Again, just mere minutes from now. Take care until then.